It's either hell or the heaven gates. We gotta grow bold, man, we cannot hesitate. We are athletes for Christ, man, we gotta go all out. We are athletes for Christ, man, we gotta go all out.
Welcome to the Athletes for Christ Podcast. This is Alejandra. She is a wife. She's also my mom, and she's a pastor's wife. She and her husband serve as pastors in the Hispanic community at our church, Free Chapel. And that's actually been a privilege for both of them and a big journey of growth. Her greatest passions are her family, her ministry, but the true priority of her life is Jesus. And her desire is to be just like him, to follow him, to hear his voice, and to lead and inspire others into a relationship with him. At 19 years old, she had a personal encounter with Christ that changed her life. And since then, her faith has become a foundation for how she lives, how she raises her family, and how she leads in ministry.
Yes, hi, and this is Jeremiah, my son. Jeremías Salas is a first-year swimmer at Cherokee Bluff High School and a first-year FRC competitor. He's been playing sports for many years and is passionate about competition and growth. He also enjoys singing, playing the piano, staying active, and being involved in church. Jeremiah has known Jesus from a young age and leans on his faith through life's challenges. His relationship with Christ shapes his character, helping him be a strong sportsman, keep a positive attitude, and share God's love with others. He knows he's still growing, but remains grounded in God's grace and loves him wholeheartedly.
All right,
Okay.
So I guess we got a few questions. Let's
Yes.
start with the first one. You want to go, or?
Sure. I'll read it and maybe you can answer and then I'll answer.
All right.
Okay. It says, can you both share your journey with Christ and what that's looked like in your home?
Well, let's see. To start it off, my journey with Christ, well, obviously, he saved me at a pretty young age, and I've just grown up in a Christian home. There have been some times, though, that I've had some pretty strong battles, struggles that have happened. But, my parents, my mom, my dad, my family, they've helped me, understand what's right from wrong and how to continue in my faith and how to get stronger and how to grow. And, reading my Bible is something that I want to continue doing, and obviously praising the Lord with everything that I do in my life and trying to be more like him. That's what my relationship, how I want it to look like and how it's looking like as well.
Yes. And for me, I think that our journey, of course, has been a precious journey with growing with the Lord, knowing him through every season. I was saved at a very young age, but life changes when you get married, when you have children, you're called into ministry. And so navigating all the different roles and seasons, keeping the Lord in the center of everything has been key for us. And one of the ways that we make sure that this is modeled in our home, I think, is just the first thing is really living it, and living what we preach, really practicing what we talk about, that the kids and now this young man and my daughter will see the Lord in everything that we do and that it's real. Every night we come together as a family, we pray, we talk about the things that we're grateful for that day, any prayer requests that we have. And so it's a great moment of prayer and time with the Lord, but it is also a great moment for us to come together as a family and know, what was your day like and what's heavy in your heart that we can pray about. And so that's one of the ways where we really bring faith into our home and make sure that we're all where we need to be.
Yep.
Okay, I'll pick one.
Well, you got the first one. Or, yeah, sure. Go for it.
Oh, yes. I read the first one. Here you go.
All right. For you, when did your faith become personal, not just something you grew up around?
That's for you, Heidi.
All right. Well, let's see. When did it become personal? Well, I've always been taught, that, faith isn't like an umbrella, or your relationship with God is not an umbrella where, your parents, just because they believe doesn't mean it doesn't mean that just because they believe that you're also going to go to heaven or that you're going to be with the Lord. Like, it's something that you have to work for and something that you have to do personally. And I think I learned that like pretty recently. I'd say like maybe 4 years ago, when the realization really like came to me, that it's not just that, I know that he exists, but more like I want to be like him, and that I want to grow and be like in his word. I want to pray. I want to, praise him with everything I do. And, I've been growing up in church, and I'm grateful for that, but it's also great to know that I've known Jesus for my entire life, and that it's, it's not something that I'm forced into, but something that I get to choose. And that's also reinforced my faith, knowing that I can choose him freely, and it's really helped me as well.
That's awesome. Hey, you said something about that it's something you have to work for. So were you referring to as in salvation or as in spiritual practices that you work for?
It can be pretty much both, because salvation, that's the first step you take when you decide to give your life to Jesus. But then the journey after salvation and being refined in him and being purified, it's a very long process that you have to work for. And, it has to do with dying to yourself every day and, not giving into sin, and also choosing to follow him every single day.
Okay.
It takes hard work, because our flesh wants to, do everything that we want to do. But when we choose to just like put it aside and, follow Jesus, everything becomes more clear, and everything, just like it's a much straighter path than it seems.
Okay, that's good. So salvation comes freely.
Yeah.
But our everyday walk requires
Work.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like training, like you can't just get to a specific spot or like in your condition when you're like training for a sport. Mm-hmm. Like, you make it to the team, that's like your one-way ticket to start training, because you can't just not train and be like, think that you can do everything. Like, even with swimming, I made it to the team, but then there was a lot more that I had to do. I had to keep on swimming. I had to go to morning practice. It was crazy. But at the end of the season, I was much better than when I started. And I was even able to swim one of like the longest swims that I ever had, which is like a 500. You have to swim 500 yards. It's like 10 laps in the pool. It's a lot, but you got to work for it.
Yes. So you practice and you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to
draw
read
the next one.
The next one. Oh, this is good.
Uh-oh.
Do people know you're a pastor's son? And how has that shaped your experience?
Ooh, do people know? Well, yeah, some people do know about that. My dad's a pastor in the Hispanic community. I haven't really told a lot of people lately, but it's not that I'm ashamed of it. There's definitely, the stereotype that people think that pastors' kids have to be perfect and everything. But we're just as human as any other human is. We all have our struggles. And sometimes that pressure can really, hurt us. I went to a camp. I go to a camp every year for my church. And it was like 2 years ago, maybe it was like the first year. I really did have like that thing on my mind where it was like, oh, you have to be perfect because you're a pastor's kid. But one of the youth pastors, he came up to me and he said, it doesn't matter who you are or what your status is. It's, like, people shouldn't look down on you, and you shouldn't like, try to be who you like are think you're supposed to be just because people expect it from you, but to be who you want to be because of Jesus. And that really changed my view on it, because, I'm just a kid, I'm just as much of a kid as any other kid. And, my faith is personal, and it's like, it gives me a chance to, know that my faith is my choice, and that it's not something that's supposed to be forced on me just because I'm a pastor's kid, but it's something that I get to choose every single day.
That's awesome. And I hope that as parents, we've inspired you to live for Jesus, that we've set an example, despite how, not perfect we are, that we have inspired you to live for him, that it flows from your heart, and we talk about it a lot, is I don't want you to be or act a certain way because of what something needs to look like. We want it to flow from a heart that loves the Lord and has decided to live for Jesus. So that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to?
Yeah, let's hope I don't fall. All right, let's see. All right,
When
now.
you fall, you get up.
Yeah. Now this one's for you, Mom. As a pastor and a mom,
Yes.
how have you navigated surrendering to God when your son's calling looks different than yours?
Okay. Well, that's really good. And I think we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, actually, because we talked about, I don't know if you remember what we talk about. So Jeremiah, of course, like serves a lot in the church, and he's very committed and consistent. And that was one of our prayers, was that our kids would find their fit in the church, so that they felt like they had purpose going, and not just going because mom and dad had to be there so much, but they have their own purpose of going and serving the community in their local church. But one of the things that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago was, what do you want to do when you grow up and have your dreams changed? And Jeremiah has always said to us that he either wants to be a pastor or he wants to work in robotics, some sort of medical engineering.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that might look like it's very different from ministry if we think of ministry traditionally just like within the four walls of the church. But when we look at our lives and we see that we are God's temple, we are the church, and that anywhere we go, it's a calling on our lives. Like God can call him to be a pastor as much as he can call him to robotics and medical engineering or whatever the Lord lays in his heart to do, because I know that wherever he calls him, he's going to use him for his glory. And so there will be many ways in which he will be able to serve the Lord in whatever area he gets called to. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a traditional role in ministry. But, and I remember telling Jeremiah that day when we were having this conversation, and I know it's a conversation that Ronald has also had with him, which is, we don't expect you to be a pastor because we're pastors. We want you to really listen to God and follow his lead for your life, and serve him wholeheartedly wherever that is, right? And so I think that it hasn't been a difficult thing for us to think about that they might do something different. But we're just excited for the gifts and the talents that the Lord has placed in them, has given them, and the dreams that he's placed in their hearts. And we trust that God will use them wherever they go, in whichever area of society they walk into. They are called to that area or that mountain in society to conquer that mountain for Jesus. Yeah. Whether it's in the entertainment business or politics or science, anywhere they go, anywhere you go, you are called to conquer that mountain for Jesus. Mm-hmm. And so, and he's gifted you for that. And so only you know what that is with the Lord, when you seek him. So, yeah.
All right. You're going to pull the next one, or?
Sure.
All right.
That's all. Okay. When did you first realize that sports would be a significant part of your family's life?
Well, I guess that's like a question for both of us. Yeah. I'll let you go first.
Me first? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess when you guys started playing sports and we're good at it, you've always been very smart. And so I thought that you would be more like on the academic side, which you're really good at, but just seeing you also so committed to playing and practicing, and the dedication, and especially this year, because you were playing basketball for 5 years, and this year you changed to swimming, and swimming's it's really been such a passion for you. Like, you're so into it. So just realized, this is something we got to do too. And if it's important for you, it's important for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think with me, and also my sister, because she plays sports. She plays volleyball and she does a little bit of dance. But sports have always been a big part of the family, staying active. I remember like the first sport that I played was like soccer, but I was like very little. So, I wasn't that good, and then I played.
You didn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
You're so tall.
Yeah.
That you were like, I'm going to hit them and hurt them.
I was actually kind of scared of the ball, But, and then basketball season came around. I got hurt in the finger, actually. That's another, I guess, trauma story. But, it's always been a big part of my life. And, I played basketball for quite a while. I went to a Christian school, and that's where I played basketball. And the coaches, they always put God into the middle of the game. They were just like, it's not just about winning, but it's also about having fun and also, pleasing God with what you do. I actually remember a time when I got a technical foul for pushing a guy. He was being pretty mean.
Ooh.
But it really revealed something to me, like, why are you not showing God? Even though somebody could be hurting you, like, you should be showing him in everything that you do in your life. So, and
I just could not believe that was my kid.
Yeah, it was something.
What?
And then, also with being, a first year swimmer, it's also my first year back in public school. And, there's not everybody's going to be Christian or, know about Jesus in a public school. But, there are some people who show signs that they love God, and, being a part of that. And like, knowing that there are people that, you can connect with, there will always be somebody. You just kind of got to like look around as well. But sports have always been a pretty big part of our family growing up. Even like my dad, my mom, they played a little bit of sports. Staying active is good. Also keeping your grades is good. It can be a mix of both. Be good at a sport, but also be good with your grades. Keep up. Make sure that you're learning and all that, because you got to develop your mind as well. But that's pretty much it.
Jeremiah, tell them how pushing that other student, how that happened, and tell them how it ended, really.
So, let's see. I pushed the kid and I got a tech, and he pushed me back as well. So, he only got to shoot one free throw. I was like kind of scared because, I was afraid I was going to get into a fight and then get beat up and all that, But I got pulled aside. I sat down. Took me a second to recover. And I was like, really scared because, I just pushed somebody. I could have gotten hurt. I could have hurt that person. But at the end of the game, they ended up winning. And we were giving the high fives, saying good game. And the guy that I pushed, he said that he wanted to talk to me. So he pulled me over to the side and he said that, he apologized for pushing me back. And I said I was sorry for pushing him, and even like that way, we're both showing that, good sportsmanship, which is a very big part of any sport that you have, but also like, the love of God and the act of forgiveness, knowing that, just because you get hurt doesn't mean they have to stay mad at somebody. But even when you're on the court or when you're in the pool, if something happens, you got to show that, you shouldn't be mad and that you should just keep going on with your life. It's not something to get like really stuck on. Yeah. And you should learn to forgive people who do wrong. And when you do wrong, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, that's so good. I think that sometimes we can get so passionate about life, the things that we love, or we set a goal for us, and we're so focused on that goal, and we get so passionate that sometimes we lose control over our own emotions and ourselves, and I think that what you said is key, is learning to forgive others, give grace like we've received grace, and also be humble to ask for forgiveness. So I remember that day, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's my kid. That's a pastor's kid. We're pastors. What's going on? Yeah. But I was so proud at the end of the game. Like, I was so proud of you and that guy having a conversation and sorting it out, and really focusing on the main thing, which is, the Lord, and just keeping a clean heart, you know? Yeah. Right. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Let's get the next question up. Let's see. How do you navigate the tension between athletic commitments and church life? Well, I mean, honestly, athletic commitments and church life haven't really clashed. Usually I go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays, and when I go on Sunday, I usually go serve. And Wednesday is like, youth, so I got to go hang out with a whole bunch of other kids who love God. But honestly, before I moved schools, it was pretty much church there as well, because, the Bible says if two or more people are unified together in the name of Jesus, the Spirit is there. And we could literally have church in the middle of practice, just like being there, working as a team, doing it for the glory of God. Honestly, sports have really reinforced the way I walk with God, and God has also reinforced the way I do sports. So, it's not really like a tension, or like, they battle one for another, but more of like a pretty good relationship where they both come together in unity, because I can bring sports into the way I serve God sometimes. Sometimes I'll go play volleyball or do something, and we all have fun. Or I can bring God into sports, where we could have a team prayer right before we hit the water, or have a team prayer right before we go play basketball, and keep God in our minds, and just pray to Him as you keep going. God, give me the strength. God, give me the skill. God, help me to remember my training. All of that kind of stuff. So, it's really good to have a balance, but also try to make sure that they come together, because that would be really great as well.
Mm-hmm. And there's been some areas where we've had to prioritize trainings or work around schedules, because obviously training keeps you busy, and then obviously the nature of our job in ministry keeps us very busy around ministry and the local church. So we've had to be very intentional about choosing what practices you're going to go to, what you're not going to be able to make. So on Wednesdays, for example, is a day where you have practice. But you would, if you go to practice on Wednesdays, you would miss youth. But if he wants to not miss youth and will miss practice, then we would just do instead the 5 a.m. training. So I think that being very intentional and working our schedule out in an organized way has helped us a lot too. But I do think it's important to not lose track of the most important thing. And for us, it is important that we go to church as a family, worship together, and learn from, receive from the Lord, and the teaching and the preaching. So.
Let's see, we got the Athletes for Christ. Guayaba, patience.
Ooh, qué rico.
A
fruit of the Spirit. Patience.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very nice.
Just letting you know, for all of you who don't speak Spanish, guayaba is just guava, okay? It's nothing special. But
it's very special.
Oh, yeah, okay. But the verse is, but if we hope for what we do not have yet, we wait for it patiently.
That's awesome.
Keep some patience, guys. Let's try it. It tastes good?
It tastes so good.
Woo. Got a good guava flavor.
This reminds me of Colombia.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So good.
Take another sip.
Thank you. Okay, so am I reading or are you reading? I forgot.
I think I'll take the next one. Whew. I don't got anything on me, right? All right, let's see. How do you intentionally equip and empower him to be a light for Christ in his athletic environment? Oh wait, that is for you.
Yes, good. I think that intentionally is the key word here, and that's been through a lot of open conversation. Jeremiah knows that he can talk to us about anything at all, that we're not going to get scared or freak out about a thought, a question, a doubt, a feeling, or a mess up.
Yeah.
So I think that first of all, it's really being open to have conversations, being open to answer to things that, might be in your heart. And as we do that, empower you to get knowledge so that you can answer those questions with your peers and not be afraid to answer those questions with your peers.
Yeah.
To feel so confident in your faith that rejection from other people won't matter. Because not just because you know who you believe in and you have a personal relationship with Christ, but also you know how loved you are and how accepted you are. And so we hope that by doing so, you feel empowered to walk with the Lord.
Yeah.
And also, minister to others. And we've seen you do that. Share your faith with people that have had hard questions, that have brought out difficult conversations. And you've stepped up to, in love, speak truth and build connection and
yeah. It's always good to have people that you can talk to, whether you have friends who you're really trusting, or in my case, my parents, because I trust them with my whole heart, and I can come to talk to them with anything. So if I ever have a question about something, they're always there, and if they don't have an answer, they'll tell me, and they also reinforce their answers with love. And if it's something wrong that happened and I go confess, they're not towering over me with hate, but instead with love. And they tell me, hey, this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna make this better, we're gonna make this right. So always have somebody that you can come talk to, have community, and whether it's friends, family, whether you have like a brother, sister, a cousin, an uncle, or even your parents, just go talk to them. It's always good to have somebody to lean on when your faith or when you're feeling weak spiritually.
And when that faith gets strengthened and you feel so safe in your faith and in your relationship with Christ, you naturally want it to spill over to your teammates.
Exactly.
And I think that's where you have really stepped up to share your faith with others and to show God's love to your friends.
All right, I think you got the next one.
Okay. Do you ever feel pressure to prioritize traditional church ministry above everything else?
Traditional church ministry.
Do you ever feel pressure to prioritize traditional church ministry above everything else?
As in just going out and having a microphone and a speaker in your hands and being Jesus loves you, or
No.
what's an example here?
I think that the question is asking more do you feel pressured that you have to prioritize the church over everything else in your life? Do you feel like you have to sacrifice everything else about you because of church?
Well, I'll say this. if it ever comes down to a point where it's I either choose Jesus or I choose everything else, I would choose Jesus.
Yes.
But, you know, church and, you know, learning about God, you know, serving him, it's not going to take away all your time. It might require a big chunk of it, and it's worth it because it also helps you do all the other things that you want to do. But, you know, doing other things is also good. I prioritize church and I prioritize Jesus, and I also don't let a lot of things get in that way. But it's never going to come to a point where it's just going to be just him or everything else. If you make time for God, he's going to give you time to do other things. It's like that analogy where, you know, you have like the big rocks, or no, let's actually use another analogy. Tennis balls, ping pong balls, and then let's say
Pebbles?
Yeah, pebbles, yeah, or like, you know,
Or sand.
Or sand, yeah. So, you know, you put the big things in first, and that's, you know, like the tennis balls, like you put in God, your family, all your relationships, you know, the very important things that are going to last. And then you put the other things like, you know, your job and other important things like, you know, going to practice and, you know, hanging out with your friends. And then, like, you know, the small things are the things that you're not going to need. And, like, you can do them any other time. Like, let's say you want to go to the movies or you want to play some video games, you know, something like that. But if you prioritize the smaller things, then it's not going to leave room for the bigger things. But if you use and do the bigger things first, like your relationship with God, then it'll give you space to do the smaller things, which like kind of like sports and all that, you know, because God is like a big thing. But if you give time to him, he'll give time to you to do the things that you love as well.
Mm-hmm. So seek me first, and all the other things will just work out themselves, right? We prioritize him for sure. And I think that that's an example of a healthy church and healthy ministry. Of course, our relationship with God is first and will always be first, and it takes up our whole life, and we take him everywhere we go. But an unhealthy part of ministry is that which doesn't allow you to do anything else, where people don't even have time for their families because they have to be in the church with all these commitments. But a healthy example of ministry is that where you prioritize the Lord and your relationship with him, your family, your job, and then you serve at the church. You serve in your local church. But you have to have those priorities clear in your mind so that there's room for everything, right? In a healthy way, right?
Yeah, that's good.
I think that if we didn't prioritize family, you guys would probably resent the church, right?
Yeah,
but you are so loved and given attention to, and that you can receive God's love as well through our example. What's harder? This is for you, Jere. Living up to expectations in sports or living up to expectations as a pastor's kid?
Definitely sports, because the expectations of a pastor's kid, they don't faze me, you know? For me, it's not like, oh, I'm a pastor's kid and I have to be perfect, but it's more like, I don't care what people think, you know? If they think that I have to be perfect, then okay. And if I mess up and they see that and then, you know, they say something about that and they think that, you know, oh, I'm such a bad guy and how could I do that? You know, they're just forgetting that we're all human. But, you know, with sports, we all have something to live up to, and the expectation is actually something reasonable. You know, as an athlete, you're supposed to be, you know, committed to the sport that you're in. And as a Christian as well, be committed to God, you know, and do your best to represent your team. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's not, you know, oh, I'm a pastor's kid, I have to represent God. But no, I'm a Christian and I have to represent God.
Come on.
And I don't live up to the pastor's kid expectation. I live up to the Christian expectation because I'm just as much of a Christian as anybody who is a Christian is, you know. So, you know, being a pastor's kid, yeah, that's cool, you know. I wanted to be a pastor's kid before my dad even became a pastor. I thought it was really cool. But, you know, the expectation, yeah, I mean, I'd rather live up to the Christian expectation, which is much better because it's a bigger community and it's not like a fake isolation of, oh, you're a pastor's kid. I'm just a person in the church, and I want to do my part. I want to serve, and I want to live for God's glory.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Amen. So instead of a pastor's kid, you're a child of God.
Exactly.
And that's the expectation we all need to live by. We're His children.
Yep.
And we live for His glory.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
Crunch time! Catch the ball. Answer fast.
Okay, Jeremías.
What's up?
Which one of these is your favorite?
Okay.
The Old Testament or the New Testament?
Woo! I'm going to have to go with the New Testament, I think it's just, it's got a lot more action. I'm kind of an action guy. Seems better. I don't know. It's also much shorter for those of you who are really honest. It's a much shorter read, but it's good. Both of the Testaments are good, but I think I like the New Testament more.
That's what's out of that.
What about you?
I think I like the New Testament too. I mean, we love it all, but New Testament.
New Testament?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You can toss it back to Jeremías. All right. What is your current go-to worship song?
Whew. Dang, I should have answered that when you asked me that.
I did ask you that today.
I'm just gonna go with one that just came off of my mind. Washed by Elevation Rhythm. That one's a really good one. It talks about spiritual, being reborn spiritually, and how you're just cleaned by the blood.
Yes.
What about you?
What a beautiful name. Just, worshiping the name of Jesus, and
That's good.
yeah, what a beautiful
Always a
name.
good one.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's a good one.
Okay, Ellen, you can keep the ball with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you, okay? And then this for both of you guys as well. What is your most used emoji?
For me, it's the one that she puts her hand to the face like, oh man. I feel like I'm always like, oh man. Yes. That's it.
All right. I'm gonna have to go with the laughing face. When he's like, we have so much joy that he's just like crying and all that. I don't really text a lot of people, but usually when there's something funny, I always put that one on there. It's really fun.
Okay, Ellen. This question's for you.
Okay.
If you weren't working full-time in the church, what would you be doing?
Oh my goodness.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's good. If no idea. I'd be a stay-at-home mom.
Oh yeah.
A lot of work.
That's a lot of work, but I was a stay-at-home mom when I was called into the ministry. 3 semesters away from finishing my bachelor's in biochemistry. So my intentions were to either teach biology and chemistry, or I was thinking about applying to medical school. So I was in that, and started feeling like God was really calling us. We knew He was calling us. He was speaking to us for 2 years until the Lord called us to full-time ministry. And I knew that we were gonna give that up. So, but I think somewhere in the medical field.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. This was for you, Jeremías. So your
All right.
parents are Colombian,
Okay.
and you were born in the U.S.
Yeah.
The World Cup is coming up.
Okay.
Who are you cheering for?
Well, if it is between Colombia or the U.S., I'm gonna go with Colombia because, I don't. I mean, how many times has the U.S. even gotten into the World Cup?
Okay.
And also, I just like the Colombian culture a lot
You
more.
could also choose both.
That's true, but I think I'm gonna stick with Colombia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. If you guys have anything to share, last minute words, and if people want to reach out, like any of your social media tags, where can they reach out?
I don't really have social media or anything, but if you guys ever want to stop by at Free Chapel, I'm Jeremías Salas, and I guess a few people might know me. But yeah, that's where you can find me at Free Chapel, Gainesville campus. That's where I usually am on Sundays, and Wednesdays, if you want to go to youth, go to the North Campus. We've got some good services, and yeah, that's where I can be found. What about you?
That's awesome. Well, So grateful to be here. Thank you so much, Athletes for Christ, for having us here today. It's just such a joy to be able to talk about our life and share a little bit of our experience with you. We hope that it has inspired you in your journey with Christ. And just know that, I think that, and we talked about it a lot today, but just know where the Lord is leading you. Just listen to Him. God has really talked to us this year about how the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. And we can have plans. We can see our plans get ruined, the ideas that we make in our heads for our lives and our goals. But if we trust Him, if you seek Him first, He will make your path straight. He will show you the next step to take. He will lead you. And wherever He leads you, wherever He calls you, you can trust that His hand will be upon you, that He'll make provision for you, and that He will use you in every area where you go, any area of society where you go. God has a plan for your life, a purpose for your life, and He will use you right there. So just trust His leading, seek Him first, and everything else will be established by Him in your life. All right. And you can find us at Free Chapel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
But yeah.
That's it.
Stay
Bye.
strong, guys. Keep having your faith. Read your Bible, obviously. Pray. Strive to live for Him. Die to yourself every single day. That's important. Water the seed inside of your heart, or the plant inside of your heart, with the Word and with fellowship with Jesus and with others. Find some other Christians that you want to talk to about your faith. And, if you ever have any questions, ask your pastor, ask your friends, anybody who knows God and who might have the answer. And, share the Word with your teammates and even with your coaches if they don't believe in Jesus. Just spread the Word, because that's what we're called to do, and continue to be an athlete. All right. Let's go. See y'all.
Is he the hell or the heaven gates? We gotta grow bold, man, we cannot hesitate. We are athletes for Christ, man, we gotta go all out. We are athletes for Christ, man, we gotta go all out, all out.